Short intro today, but good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on in. It is Season 7, Division 1, Round 11. It is Miami tonight, and that should pose some very interesting racing. Well, 2 to go. We've got Division 2 tomorrow night, but tonight it is Division 1, and there is a 3-way battle to be concluded within these next 2 weeks because it's Rush the Siri, Herman, and Andy. Outside chance for Babish, but really needs something dramatic to happen to the 3 in front of him, and that is just very unlikely. But starts tonight, 46 points behind, 54 points total available to everybody throughout the evening. Now, Moksha rounds out the top 5, followed by Andrew, Energetic, Danger David, who is now a full-time driver, Bards, and Race Chase rounding out your top 10. Then it's Mr. Walter, Verstappen, Fellow Son, Quincy, followed by Ryan Brooks, Tark and Gino, Kovachka, Quad, and Craig Jog, with your reserves being Salvi, Pleasant Sake, Vincenzo, Rolly, Truckster, and Flip. With your constructors now, Alpine leading the way still to Ferrari there. Then it's Mercedes, Williams, and Aston Martin with your top 5. Red Bull, McLaren, Kick Sauber, Haas, and Racing Bulls are the 10 line up, with Racing Bulls and Haas hoping to do a bit of work to get themselves off the bottom of the table. And of course, we'll go into the race feed straight away. And well, look at that, a sight we haven't seen for a little while is, of course, full wet weather. Yes, that is now back with us in SSRL after taking a few weeks away. The dreaded wet rain has returned. And so, going into tonight, we are looking at 17 drivers and 3 of our championship elect, maybe even a 4th, but Babish again, that outside chance, really needs the top 3 to have a nightmare of a Grand Prix, which of course happened to Rush the Series last night, and really is the only reason Babish is still going, of course, serving his 63-second penalty last week in Abu Dhabi, so that has now been lifted. But in order to clear his penalty points, he must have 3 clean races. So let's see how he does over the next few weeks. But of course, that will, I think, carry on into next season for him. So he won't be able to clear it throughout this season, but at least then he can go into next season with a literal clean slate. And he will be okay. It's the Red Bull of Truckster that is out on the circuit, first and foremost. Of course, having a very good time with his qualifying in Division 2. Just the results haven't been coming together. Did get a promise. He's always had a promising qualifying, but then always has an issue with his consistency. Well, more specifically, late race mistakes are what seems to cost him. In fact, even late stint mistakes, if you really want to be accurate. Stint 1 he's been known for making a few mistakes here and there, getting too desperate on the throttle, and then of course final lap in Division 2 last week in Abu Dhabi, if you were there, completely spinning round off the podium he went. Heartbreak for the British driver, hoping to make amends this week to try and get some sort of good stead going into the next season. But Truckster, definitely a pacey driver. Don't take anything away from him. He will catch up to you if you're napping on him. And, well, he certainly is very effective. But, of course, Miami requiring a bit of an introduction, recently introduced from 2022, and, of course, is located near the NFL stadium for the Miami Dolphins. In fact, you can see it on, well, if you look to the left-hand side a little more, if there weren't buildings obstructing it. But of course, I think Miami Dolphins did actually see success in the 1970s. Of course, I think it was, I can't remember the names right off the top of my head where they won, but that is it, the Hard Rock Stadium in the background. And, well, Miami, of course, they've been able to afford to bring F1 to their back door. And, of course, 3 years of racing is currently occurring. And I think we're seeing this track until 2047 or something ridiculous like that. But anyway, Truckster has gone through turn 1 now. Let's go on board with the race with Red Bull driver and see how he tackles this circuit. Of course, it's high speed throughout sector 1, but of course in the wet have to kind of keep it composed and keep it tame because the wet weather ready to kick you out if you get too desperate on that throttle. You can see how he understeers and slides through the long left-hander of turn 7, and now he's going through turn 8 onto the long straightaway. I think this is considered the second longest straightaway in Formula 1 on Formula 1 season so far, and now it'll come to a stop in a few moments time for turn number 11. Very early on the brakes there, just kind of getting a sense for where he needs to brake a bit wide as he goes through there. Now he's going through the tight section of 12, 13, 14 and 15, slowest section on the circuit by far and away. This tight chicane here, look at that, left, right, no room to maneuver. I have seen daring overtakes be made there, but off the track, and usually when you make an overtake off track like that, you have to give the position back. Looks at now what would be the the third DRS zone here in Miami. Of course, DRS closed under these wet conditions for safety reasons. Truckster makes his braking point at the 150-meter mark, goes through turn 17 now. Final couple of corners to go as they pass the Miami Dolphins Stadium on the right-hand side. And here we go, and that is Truckster with a 1:39.5 to get times on the board. Of course, the track will evolve as the moisture is cleared off the surface, but of course, it is still a wet weather track, and I don't think Bavish got the memo here. I think we are all on intermediates tonight, but Bavish wants to try it on the full wets. Let's see what he can do at this early stage qualifying. Hello to Energetic as well, who is listening to us on the bus tonight. So, of course, he will be in audio-only mode for tonight. And, of course, we wish him all the best for his championship charge going into tomorrow night. And hope you have a good one. Bavish here, of course, coming in tonight, 46 points behind and struggling on those wet tyres, so clearly he has got a bit of work to do. That's a 1:41.1, but then Andrew comes in and beats that, so that's nearly 2 seconds. So I think Bavish will then concede and go to the intermediate, so clearly wets aren't the way to go. But either way, that was an all-right looking time until Andrew came in with the 1:39. Mr. Walter wasn't much faster, 007 slower than Bavish there, as Race Chase now popping in a time, of course, assumes 10th place in the championship going into tonight. So Race Chase having a very good time of things throughout Division 1 and 2. Let's see how he could. Well, let's see how he does tonight, because this is good practice for him for Division 2 tomorrow. And now Shaggy is back with us. Look at this. Well, Shaggy we haven't seen for a while. Of course, he did have a brief stint last season in the comms box with me back in Monza, I think it was. I think it was last season he was here. But, of course, tonight as a reserve, so he will score points as a reserve driver, not a full-time driver. So that means it will not go towards his total on the Drivers' Championship board. So Shaggy across the line now to pole position for now. Let's see if he can carry that momentum on. The German, of course, came in with a time as one of the 4 champions elect going into tonight, and at the moment currently 5th place out of the 8 drivers that have set a time so far. Tarkangino currently on a flying lap, as well as Rowley, who is just going through the final couple of corners. I think he's actually just a bit further back from this, so I think actually he's just going around 6, 7 and 8 as we speak. So he's actually a bit further around the track. That is actually one of either the Williams or the Alpine going into the pits there and just getting themselves in. And in fact, Andrew even just came in as well. In fact, that could have been Bavish as well, who currently qualified 7th, of course. Has not had a good end to this season. Had a very controversial accident in Las Vegas a few weeks back. And unfortunately for him, had to serve a 63-second penalty, which took him 2 weeks to serve, as he didn't finish the race in Qatar, but was able to finish in Abu Dhabi, but could only muster 17th place. Hello to Milady Gina as well. Thank you for the lurk. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast so far. Tarkangino across the line to 7th place, a 1:40.2, but now a lot of drivers without times are on flyers, and the one we need to keep an eye on is your current world champion elect. Truckster fastest across the line, a 1:38.2. That is insane from Truckster, but Andy might be looking to beat it, of course, looking for his 6th title in a row in SSRL. Of course, did take one in Division 2, but that doesn't count towards the totals here in this division. So he is currently a 6-time champion across both SSRL divisions, but of course in this one, he is currently looking for his 6th in a row, looking to be the Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton of the Silly Season Racing League, and you do have to go to some effort to try and beat this guy, as now he has got 9.5 minutes, will be setting his first flying lap tonight. Let's see what he can do, going down the straight where you would usually activate DRS, but you can't due to the wet weather conditions, and now braking at around the same point Truckster did, so clearly Truckster was on to something on his first flying lap, and it wasn't a bad time either. Herman now across the line, 1:39.3, but we need to keep an eye on what the current Romanian champion can do. Goodness me. Andy Andre with a 1:37.8, and that beats everybody. The first driver into the 1:37s tonight over the halfway point. That is going to be slightly demoralizing if you are Herman or Rush the Siri. Of course, Rush the Siri currently on his outlap, and he is only just going through turns 4, 5, and 6 as we speak. He's actually getting out of the way for some drivers behind him. Suribo being one of them, 1:53.4. Now, one thing that me and Herman have noticed about Bruiser in Division 2 is that he doesn't use his battery, so I don't know if he's trying to get used to the actual wheel, because I know Herman has found out that he is currently on only just set up a wheel, but I think he doesn't actually know what his binds are, so he would just need to maybe just take 5 minutes just to learn what they are at some point and just see if he can get them. But either way, Bruiser is always an odd one that me and Herman notice, is that, you know, he doesn't seem to really use a lot of the tools at his disposal. As Tarkangino there looked like he cut the corner, but clearly the game saw something there, and in fact Tarkangino has abandoned that lap, so he will not go any further. I think he will come into the pits for a replacement set of tyres. Shaggy there, I think, has just come across the line there. Yes, he has a 1:38.3 for the McLaren driver. Of course, remember, he is reserved tonight, but I want to keep an eye on where Rush the Siri is, because World Championship leader, but an awful round last week. Couldn't even find the top 10 in qualifying, 14th place. Couldn't find top 10 in the race, 12th place, so really on the back foot coming into tonight. And he even said to me, I didn't watch back the race last week, I wasn't ready for the pundency that you had for me. Well, let's see if he can improve on things tonight, back in the full wet weather, and let's see what time he can set. He's just gone through turn 1 now. Let's go on board with the Tifosi driver. The Tifosi leading in the points by 18, no, sorry, behind the Alpines, beg your pardon, by 18 points here. So they would really love to gain some ground and Rush the Siri to be back in top form as he goes through there, turns 6 and now 7. And then it will be 8, but it's very wide through there, so already compromising the lap. But can he get quick enough on the power to at least minimize the time loss from the understeer through there? And Herman has he crashed? He's retired from the session. What's happened there? I haven't seen him leave the session either, so I'm a bit confused. But anyway, let's keep on going with Rush the Siri's lap, as he is now going through turn 12. Then he's going to approach 13. Now it's 14, and these come at you at so quickly, but they are so tight you have to slow the car right down. Meets the apex there. This is actually a very good sector 2 from Rush the Siri so far. And now down the straight. Let's hope his straight line speed is on his side tonight. Chugster is also out on an outlap. Andy, I think, has gone for another flyer. He might be just ahead. And even Moksha has beaten Herman's time, so Herman down to 6th now. It is going to be another dreadful qualifying for him. I'll give you the update and notes on that in just a second. In fact, Andy was indeed ahead. That's a 1:37.4. Could we be seeing 1:36s by the end of quali? Rush the Siri, crucially for himself, jumps to 2nd place after that lap. But either way, it is all systems go, because Andy is obliterating the times tonight, and it looks like he is unstoppable. Babish here really needs something to happen to the guys at the front, as we know, and Herman having, well, retiring and qualifying early. I'm not sure as to why. I'm going to see if I can find anything out in the Discord for you before we end qualifying. We've got 5 minutes to go, and it looks like our order is just about set as Andrew goes up into second place there in the Aston Martin. But Babish here, torrid second half of the season, really felt like he was in competition for the guy with the guys at the top, but after a horrible race in Las Vegas and Qatar, of course a penalty from Las Vegas which carried over into Qatar, but due to him retiring in the pit lane, he did have to serve that in Abu Dhabi as well, and that has brought him to a gap of 46 points, and that is why he really needs an upset to happen at the front. And with Herman gonna be 10th at the moment, but Babish surely will be improving on this as he comes to line now. Wow, Babish did what he needed to do, and Herman will now start outside the top 10 regardless. Quincy's going to be coming in and looking in to beat that. He's nearly 2 seconds up on his PB. Of course, the delta on the top right compares to the driver's personal best, not the overall session best in qualifying, so do remember that as well. 4 minutes to go, and at the moment, Babish is on top, but Andy will have a new set of tyres, and he will get out onto the track for one last flying lap before the end of the session. But anyway, nearly 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go, and that is third place for Quincy. That is a great time so far, and that puts him ahead of Andrew as well. This could be one heck of a qualifying. Babish, Quincy and Andy are in play for pole position. This might go down to the wire, and then Trugster, the first driver into the 1:36.7s. This is going to be a climactic end to qualifying, because I don't know who is where, in all honesty. Andrew will start another flying lap, and this will be his second to last one. If he can get to the line quick enough, it will be very tight. I think that might actually be his last one. Rush Sirius retired as well. Why is Rush retired? Why is Herman retired? What's going on? They haven't crashed either. They're in the pit lane. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can find out why. I'm just bringing up... I'm just going to bring up the Division 1 chat room now. But no. No, there's no news. I don't know why they've retired. That's all. As Moksha into second place, and Rush Siri will now lose positions. This is what Babish needs more than anything. He's going to be happy with how this is going. As Lord Kakashi in with the lurk as well. Thank you to you. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far yourself. And well, we're in for a shock qualifying again. The top two in the championship are having an awful session. They've both retired. At the end, we'll be having full qualifying tonight. I forgot about that. I don't know how, but I forgot about that. I've completely forgot about that. My apologies. I thought we were having the single session qualifying, but it is indeed full qualifying tonight. I do apologize. So, in actual fact, we are following the knockout session. The usual knockout session, so that is why. That would explain a lot. But with the times coming down so much, I don't know if Herman has timed that right. I think we could be saying goodbye to him very, very soon. It will be lights out and away we go very soon, Kakashi. Very premature. And at the moment, 15th place for Rowley. Sir Ibo and Bruiser unlikely to improve. In fact, they can't. So Bruiser and Sir Ibo will not go any further in qualifying. They will not improve, so everybody in your top 15 is safe. No need to improve, and we will have qualifying 2 in a few minutes' time. And Andy Andre just reminded me twice that we are indeed having a full qualifying. So I don't know how I forgot that. I don't know how I forgot that at all. Don't know how I forgot that. I'm very sorry, everybody. But yes, it is a full session qualifying site. So I think that will bring an end to qualifying for Quali 1. Qualifying 2 will obviously be a 15-minute session where we'll decide who will be knocked out. So it'll be, of course, from P1 to P10, who will go through to qualifying 3, and we'll say goodbye to places 15 to 11th. And well, you've already got an idea of who might be in trouble. Race Chase will be in trouble. Herman retiring early there, and that nearly saw him knocked out the session. But with Cerebro and Bruiser not going for any further improvements, they are safe for tonight. And then we'll see what happens. But either way, qualifying one has just about concluded. We are a few minutes away. In fact, Truckster is going to go for another flying lap. I don't know why, as he doesn't really need to. He could save the tyres there, as he has a bit of a moment going through turn one. Let's just see who is on a flyer as we speak. There is a Williams or an Alpine just going through the corners as we speak there. He's just approaching onto the final back straight in Miami, on the Miami circuit here. Rowley's going to improve up into 10th place there, and that is how close Herman was to being knocked out there. Of course, one of the 3 champions elect. We'll soon find out how that all goes. But either way, it is now all concluded. But Truckster is on a final flying lap, hoping to go top here, as Bavish will go straight into the pits. And well, he is through to qualifying 2 rather comfortably himself. Race Chase as well, also through comfortably, as well as Tarkangino. So yeah, we'll just see the final few laps now. Sorry, not Truckster. Tarkangino will be one of the first to cross the line. And Gord Kakashi is saying, I'm waiting until you say it. I don't think I ever... Will I ever? I don't know. I'll think about it. But anyway, either way, back to what we're looking at right now. Tarkangino coming to the line as Barish retires from the session. And there we go, across the line there. 11th place for him. And that sees him safely through qualifying 2. Mr. Walter already across the line as well. 12th place for Race Chase there, as we now finally bring to an end. But Truckster wanting to improve more and more. I think he just went to the top there, but of course it's only qualifying 1, so that will be all said and done. But either way, that is qualifying 1, so the only drivers we will say goodbye to at the end of that session is Sir Ibo and Bruiser. They will start from the back when we go racing. But either way, qualifying 2 is going to be a few moments away, and that will be a 15-minute session. So, of course, extended qualifying tonight. Again, apologies about that. I didn't realize, unfortunately, it completely slipped my mind that we were doing a full session of qualifying there. And but at least then we can have a exciting Q2. But of course, we'll have to see how that goes out, because Herman just retired a little too early there, so he's probably going to have to be mindful of that. I do think he had the best intentions, though. I think he is saving tyres for the rest of the session. And he might actually be one of the drivers to go out later in the session to try and save his tyres. But again, that also comes with its own risks of, well, will you put the lap together as well, as the rain will continue to pour here in Miami. And as we wait for the countdown to begin, here we go. 15 minutes on the clock. We are underway. Qualifying 2. So we now say goodbye to 11th to 15th. But who do we say goodbye to? Well, that's going to have to be decided. Of course, favourites to go through are easily your 4 champions elect of Bavish, Andy, Nasiri, and of course, who am I forgetting? Herman there, I think. So there was Nasiri, Bavish, Herman, and Andy. Yeah, there you go. So I did cover all 4 of them. And 14.5 minutes on the clock, but nobody's going to be making their way out just yet. And then as soon as I say that, Shaggy decides to make his way, looking for some Scooby snacks on the track, as Kokashi is on a 3-stream streak there, saying yay in the chat. Hello, thank you very much for the 3-stream streak there. And of course, checking out my commentaries as well. It seems to be the kick-salver of Tarkangino leading the pack out for another session of qualifying here. Of course, second to last one. Tarkangino hoping to prove everybody with a surprise here to go through into qualifying 3. One of the more unlikeliest cars to do it. Quincy as well, hoping to go through, but I do think we'll be saying goodbye to him. Maybe Moksha as well, just considering his qualifying stats as well. And then, I can't really decide there. So it's Tarkangino, Quincy, maybe Vincenzo on that one, Moksha, and I'm going to say Race Chase. So those are my 5 to go in qualifying 2. We'll see if that all comes about. But either way, it is Herman, Andrew, Shaggy, and Tarkangino out on the track for the first 1.5 minutes of qualifying, and now they will be approaching they'll be approaching the start finish line in a few corners time. Just one back straight separates everyone, and I'm just hoping that everybody gets afforded a bit of space here. You don't want any impeding at all on your flying lap, and Shaggy is running rather close to the back of the Kicksauber there. Might want to watch that as he now does begin to drop back, and there's the Alpine of Herman behind him as well. Of course, really left it in a very interesting place there to go through to Quali 2. But either way, he is through, and now he will continue on, of course, 15th in qualifying due to retiring early. Now we have just under 13 minutes to go as we now begin the first set of flying laps. Tarkangino, like I said before, will be first across the line, and there we go. He is being afforded the space, so Shaggy should have a clear check in front of him once he gets across the start-finish line. You can't even see the McLaren at the back of your frame, and there he is now. So there's more than enough space, and Tarkangino shouldn't run into any trouble, and neither will Shaggy. But through turn 1, these few drivers go. A few more now on outlaps as well. Wouter versus Siri, and of course Andy Andre there. Everybody keeping a fair eye on him, but also keep a fair eye on Trugster there, of course, setting the fastest time at the end of qualifying 1. He will certainly be one to look out for, maybe trying to upset the apple cart here, but he's more interested in his stakes in Division 2. That is where his main racing comes. But of course, that's also a three-way fight in Division 2. If you come and check us out tomorrow, which of course I'll be commentating with Herman the German, who of course will be giving us some expertise on tonight's qualifying as well. It should be a rather interesting occasion. It's Pleasant Snake, Quincy, and Energetic 6 battling for that Division 2 championship. Of course, Quincy, the current champion in that division, but Pleasant Snake having a grand old time in Abu Dhabi. Well, taking the win rather comfortably there. So that, of course, has extended out the championship lead again. So Miami will be very important for both the Mercedes and the Ferrari driver, at least the Ferrari driver in Division 2. But you can see there, the 4 drivers that started their flying laps, maybe even 5, are now line astern going down the back straight. Shouldn't be really getting any dirty air from the car in front. There is more than enough of a gap there to just be comfortable. But here we go through the final corner. Tarkangino goes. That's a 1:37.4, then a 1:36.4 straight after that from Shaggy, and then Herman just splitting the two as he gets across the line. What about Andrew here? He goes straight up to second place there. And now Mr. Wouter, I think, will be next. No, it won't. It'll be the Mercedes of Andy Andre to be next across the line here. And this is the one, again, we're all keeping an eye on. Hello, Hessel. I'm not feeling confident for tomorrow. I haven't had a chance to practice this week. Underling, hello, Hessel, hello. Energetic cheering for Wouter and Ginny the Pinny today. Ginny the Pinny? Excuse me? As Shaggy has had a disconnect there. Shaggy is disconnected from the session. His name hasn't been grayed out, but either way, that is rather important. Oh, Gino, thank you. And there we go. Andy is to the top of the timing boards, but not by much. That is just over 3/10 there. Pony Racing F1 cars, better. Yes, Gino the Pino. I've got you now. But anyway, let's keep an eye on who is flying and who is not. The Ferrari of Vincenzo even to the line. That's third place. So I was saying he was going to be one of my 5 to be knocked out. But at this early stage of qualifying, he's already up into third place as Rush the Siri invalidates the lap there. Intense action, says Underling. I'm not quite. I don't know if he's talking about pony racing. I think we've gone elsewhere in chat there, so I'm going to try and pay no attention to it as Moksha across the line there. 8th place, and that's a 1:38.5 there. Needs to really find the time if he wants to take this into qualifying 3. Good constructors points on here, considering Shaggy has got second so far at this early stage, but now Shaggy really needs Moksha to pull through and get a better time. Even Quincy was a bit slow on that one, but I think he was just warming things up to try and have a go at this time of asking. So let's watch him as he would be going down what is the second DRS zone round the track here, and takes a left-handed turn here and slams on the anchors. Now through the long bend of turn 12 he goes. Turn 13 is next, and then just a tight cascade of corners, left then right. That's the chicane there, which can catch a lot of drivers out for track limits. It caught Rush the Siri out not too many moments ago. Quincy with a 1:45.7 so far. Not a representative time by any means. I'm sure he will have improved on that through sectors 1 and 2. You could see the track map go purple when he crossed sector 1 when we joined him. And now, dumping the battery down the straight, or what's left of it anyway, makes the turn for 17. Now he just needs to go through 18 and 19 without any trouble. Let's see what Quincy can do. From a 1:45 to a 1:36.6, so that's a good time from him as well. But keep an eye on other drivers around the track as well. We have an Alpine coming to the line of Rowley, and that's 10th place, so that's a 1:38.6. Needs to do a lot better than that. Rush the Siri in the background. That wasn't Rush the Siri, even beg your pardon, but still needs to get a time on the board, hitting the wall there as he went through turn, I think that was turn 14 and 15 there. So Rush the Siri hitting the wall, struggling in Miami, and he didn't want that. Of course, he only has a 4-point cushion to Herman the German, but more importantly to Andy, a 14-point cushion. He cannot afford to lose any more points to these two. And here we go into turn 17. He goes, this is going to be an important final couple of corners for him, as it will really set the benchmark for the rest of his qualifying. Through the final corner goes Rush the Siri to pole! 1:36.0 beats Andy's time. And that will impress him by far and away. So he might have even impressed himself. Truckster still without a time on the board. Danger David has just got by his teammate there, who obviously got out of the way without impeding the Scotsman driver. You don't really want to annoy a Scotsman, I can tell you that for free. But now, through the final couple of corners, Danger David will go. Won't be the fastest time on the board. Might be even a little bit slow. That's 10th place for him. I'm surprised to see him in this amount of trouble, as Truckster fast in qualifying 1, but no time so far in qualifying 2. Really needs to find something sooner rather than later. This is the business end of qualifying now. This session. Talk about horsepower. It is very, very tight indeed for that final spot there. Remember, it's qualifying 2, so cars placed 11th, 15th will be knocked out, and then we'll have one final qualifying session to decide 1st to 10th position. So, of course, we don't go anywhere. Once this is concluded, we'll have more action on the way. A 12-minute session to conclude the qualifying. But at the moment now, we are looking at Truckster on a very important lap and not using any battery. He's not using any battery. And this will not be a representative, maybe a banker, just for the final few minutes of qualifying. But we now need to look elsewhere, because Truckster is not going fast enough. Is Danger David also on a bit of a rapid lap? He shouldn't be, considering he just set the time there and is currently in 11th place. So someone has improved there. That's now Bavish as we cut to him. 5th position there. So both Williams through into qualifying 3 so far, but of course there's still a long way to go, as Andy as well is also trying to make improvements, as Rush the Siri has actually beaten him still. So Rush the Siri on for pole position at this early stage, but at the moment we still have one final qualifying session to decide everything here. 5 minutes to go in qualifying 2. Herman the German in all sorts of trouble. Really needs to put a lap together sooner rather than later. And in fact, he's doing that right now. Here we go into turns, what are 11, 12, and then 13, 14, and 15. These corners, again, like I said, come at you at a rate of knots. Look at how tight you have to turn to even make the next corner. And now yellow flag for a slow-moving vehicle. That's a McLaren up ahead as Quincy going to the top of the timing boards there. Herman has been shot down to 10th position after Danger David found time. He's got a 1:36.1. That brings him into the top 10, but his teammate could only muster a 1:40.802. But surely now, Truckster will be on a more representative time. But at the moment now, I'm just thinking, there you go, there's Moksha now down to 12th place after Rowley came across the line. But now it's going to be Herman next, and that's 5th position. And that should, well, I would say that should see him through, but there's not very much separating 11th to 5th there. Only 9/10 of a second, and as the track evolves in the final few minutes, those 9/10 can easily be found. But I am shocked to see sorry about that, Quincy at the top of the timing boards there in Division 1. He'll be very happy with this so far. Just over 3.5 minutes to go here in the session. And he's looking rather good indeed, as Moksha now is one of the drivers currently in trouble, as is Truckster. I think Truckster is approaching the end of his lap, and he's actually found 2 seconds and 2/10 there in Sector 2, and he's going through Sector 3 right now. He needs this to count. Will it count? It will, but it's not enough. He got a 1:37.4, and he goes nowhere. He is still in last, and after being fastest in qualifying 1, he is currently one of the slowest in qualifying 2, and needs to find the time sooner rather than later. He's only got 1 more flying lap, and then it's all over for Truckster, and that is a shock there. I did not expect him to be at the back of the field going into this session. That's not Shaggy coming to the line. That is Moksha here, who's improving by half a second. He's into the top 10 now. He will have 1 last flying lap before the end of this session. But either way, this is oh so close to call. Where will this go? I don't really have a clue, to be honest with you. This is such an entertaining qualifying session. And Deja David also improving, of course, has now become full-time here in SSRL for Division 1, but no chance at the title. He is mathematically out of it, as now Bavish has gone to the top of the timing boards. As now Vincenzo is now on the bubble in 10th position. This really, really could go anywhere. Rush Asiri, of course, will be happy with 3rd place, but of course, he is by no means safe, with improvements still happening around the Miami circuit. It is not over just yet until you are the last to cross the line. We'll soon see who that will be, but Deja David now could have time for 1 final flying lap. If he can get this one done in the nick of time, he will go to the top, and I do think he is safe there, and he should be a-okay. But now, it is all down to Truckster. He needs to find a time to get him from 15th into the top 10. What about Race Chase, who's invalidated his time, but he'll have time for 1 more flyer. His teammate is also on an outlap, and his teammate might be more interested in giving him a slipstream. You never know. But either way, Race Chase now coming to the line. Caution in Sector 2 for a slow-moving vehicle. That is Rush the Siri there on an outlap. We don't know how long is left in the session because the yellow flag indicator covers it. We have just over 1 minute to go, and Vincenzo is flying through the first couple of turns. But now I really want to keep an eye on what Drugster is up to. I'm really shocked he is even in this position. Deja David is giving him a slipstream. This is great teamwork from the Red Bull. Deja David moves out the way before he can even think about impeding his teammate, and that is very good teamwork there from the Red Bull drivers. But either way, the session is about to conclude. I think Tarkangino is also going to start a final flying lap. Indeed, he is. 30 seconds to go, and it looks like Truckster will be one of the first to cross the line. Andy Andre starts his final flying lap as well. I think Rowley is also coming to the line to start 1 final flying lap himself. One of the Williams just came through not too long ago, and now Rowley will begin with probably only seconds on the board to go for 1 final flyer. Truckster here is improving half a second. It's not enough, to be honest with you. He needs to have had a dramatic improvement here through sectors 3 and 1. What is it going to be? No! Truckster is out! After a great time in qualifying 1, it comes to nothing as Shaggy goes to 2nd place there. The Ferrari is in the wall, by the way. Vincenzo has crashed it! Vincenzo crashes it! He might be out of qualifying, and Aston Martin on Race Chase goes to the line. It's not enough. It's not enough, as Andrew will also come to the line. He improves to 3rd. But upset for Truckster. Out, well, fastest in qualifying 1, out in qualifying 2. And the positions aren't decided just yet. Russell Shiri just makes himself safe into the 135s as Quincy retires. And now that is going to be Rowley to the line. I think, no, it'll be Herman who's up into 7th, but by no means safe. 135 might not be enough here. It might not be enough. As Andy Andre is in 8th, but he's improving as well. This is important that he puts this lap together. Can he do it? Yes, he can. He is up into 3rd place there, and I actually think that might mean that everyone is safe there. And Bavish actually slows down. He knows he doesn't need to improve, but Rowley could make 1 final one final dent. It would knock out Moksha, but he doesn't improve there. So that is it. It is Vincenzo, Race Chase, Trugster, Rowley, and Tarkingino we say goodbye to. And the biggest upset in all of that, Trugster, after being fastest in qualifying 1, he's one of the slowest in qualifying 2. And that is not going to make him happy at all, but that is something for him to think about going into Division 2 tomorrow. And it was the gears not downshifting in turn 1, so he had a shifter issue in all of that. Oh, that is a big heartbreak for him. But we already know who we are saying hello and goodbye to for qualifying 3. And Hessel is in chat here, 135.469. And, well, we weren't too far away from that at all. We've got a 135.712. I still haven't seen the 135.690 as Tarkingino has left the session by accident. He, of course, is one of the 5 we've said goodbye to. But now, it is one last qualifying session. 12 minutes to decide who will be 1st to 10th. Who is going to take it? One of the 4 champions elect. That can be Russ Nasiri, Herman, Andy, and, of course, Bavish as well. But, of course, the 4th driver in that list has a real outside chance there, coming into tonight with 46 points deficit, outscoring a total, well, out of the possible 54 that you need to score within these final 2 rounds. I don't deem it likely that we are going to see Bavish going into the final round. Wherever that may be, we don't know at the moment. That is, of course, the Mystery Grand Prix, which is a seasonal tradition here in SSRL. We will not find out until really the day of. So, just going to have to stick around and see where that is. But anyway, it is Shaggy making his way out of the garage. Both McLarens making it into qualifying 3. That's good for them, in all honesty. McLaren coming in tonight on 144 points. And they are currently looking like they are going to actually have a nice final charge based on tonight. They are currently 7th position with 144 points, but are quickly catching up to both. Well, like, you know, the teams ahead of them. Red Bull, Aston Williams, maybe even Mercedes if they can really string a nice couple nice couple of rounds together if you include tonight. But Shaggy leading the 6 drivers behind him at the moment, but of course a total of 9 behind him if you include everyone that has remained in the pit line, which you can see on the graphic to your left hand side there. But here already 10.5 minutes to go. This qualifying session will fly by, I promise you that. There will be not really enough time to just gather yourself up. I wouldn't really expect anybody to be coming into the pits for a fresh set of tyres, unless if that is the strat tonight. The rain well, I thought I'd mostly stopped there, but then I saw the splashes there, and in fact you can still see the raindrops on the camera there as you go through turns 12, 13, 14, and then 15. But Shaggy here, of course, is a reserve for tonight, so he won't score any points for his Drivers' Championship, but he will be scoring for the McLaren team there, and they'll be very, very happy with this. I can tell you that for free. Shaggy here is really having a good performance as of right now. Of course, we haven't seen him for a little while. He did seem to have the pace, but did get involved in a few accidents. Actually did serve a race ban last season after causing a Spa-like pileup in Catalonia last season. But here tonight, he's hoping to make amends for that and goes across the start-finish line now to begin what will be one of his final flying laps. Maybe he could really cause some upsets as Andrew also across the line. He's having a good qualifying so far. Andrew really is on a return to form kind of basis. Last week qualified 5th, but could only manage 8th place. So the past week, including this one, that momentum is seemingly continuing. Shaggy struggling as he goes through turns 3, 4, and 5, and then through 6, 7, and 8. Trying to really get it gathered all back up there, but you could just see a little bit of understeer there, but also struggling with oversteer in the high-speed corners. And now what would be a DRS zone in the dry, he goes through that now. The second one round the circuit as now approaching turn 11, beg your pardon. Heavy on the brakes there. He gets that car turned in, deliberately goes a bit wide there to try and set himself up for the line of turn 12. And now through 13, 14, and 15. Of course, having to really get on the anchors to really attack that awkward chicane. But let's see what happens. I'm predicting we're going to be ending this session in the 1:33s. Of course, if you do have any predictions for times tonight, put them in the chat, and we'll see if they come true or not. At the moment, it's going to be the McLaren first across the line. There's only one driver in the pits. That is the Racing Bulls of Mr. Walter, still yet to come out onto the track. Maybe looking for a bit of clear road, but he did have that not too long ago, but didn't take it. 1:36.2, so quick time's coming in right now, but Quincy already into the 1:35s there, so maybe the 1:36 there, not quite good enough to try and get pole position. Andrew next across the line there, second driver into the 1:36s. It will be the Ferrari of Rush the Siri next across the line. What can he do to keep the championship lead? Well, it's not a representative time by any means, as the Scotsman goes to the top of the timing boards, but this is early days just yet. 9th place without a time. Moksha comes to the line now, goes up into 5th place, but that's the slowest of the representatives. Of course, Rush the Siri just decided to take a warm-up lap. I wonder if Andy's done the same thing. He just seems slow on approach there, and in fact, yeah, he's very slow on the time. So Andy has actually done the same as Rush the Siri and has decided to use that lap as a recon lap, and there 1:39.1. Trust me, that's not his real pace. He will obliterate that in a few moments time. But let's have a look at Babish here. He will be, of course, hoping for something to happen to the top 3 in the championship tonight to give him a chance to take the championship into the mystery round next week. Of course, that will be the final round for Season 7, and of course, my final couple of commentaries with the Silly Season Racing League, which, of course, it has been an absolute pleasure to have brought this league to you basically from Season 3, and I've lasted all the way up until Season 7, but Season 8 will, of course, go under the reins of somebody else, which we will announce in due time, definitely before the end of the Grand Prix next week. So let's have a look. Babish now coming to the line, but of course we need to just cut away for a brief few moments as Rush the Siri has invalidated the time. Very similar issues to what he had in qualifying 2. Left it late, but certainly made it great to get through into this session. But now Babish will be the next across the line. Andy Andre not too far behind him, only separated by a McLaren on this very back straight. Babish very wide there. That won't help him on his entry, but at least it'll give him a good exit, but it's not really what he would have wanted. Very wide through there, through the final couple of corners. Babish goes up into 5th place, but now we need to see what does Andy have in store as well. Herman on an outlap as well, so he's one of the champions elect. We'll keep an eye on him, but Andy to the line, and that is going to be pole position for now, but that is only for now. The Track Evolution still doing its thing. We might see. Okay, so for qualifying 3, I think a 1:33.690 from Hessel there. We'll see if that comes to fruition, of course, but now Rush the Siri is definitely pushing much harder, but we need to see what everyone else is doing. Danger David is slow in Sector 1, but that is, of course, he's just only started a flying lap right now. Andrew as well, also on a flyer, but there is an Alpine there coming to the end, and that'll be, of course, Herman the German ready to start his first flying lap. Has left it very late in the session. We are now over halfway. Like I said, it does fly by quickly this session. Once it gets underway, before you know it, you've only got a few minutes to go, and if you don't have a lap on the board, well, you are in a real pressure cooker situation. And at the moment, that's where Herman finds himself right now, and Mr. Walter equally as well. Of course, Mr. Walter getting support from Energetic, who is in chat tonight. Andrew straight into the pit lane. Let's see what everybody else is up to. What is Rush the Siri up to? He is just coming to the line now. He is heavily improving here. The Ferrari goes to 4th place, and that's maybe not what he would have wanted. What about Herman the German? He's only just going through Sector 1 now with a 33.463 in that first sector, but we can't really keep an eye on this. There's a Red Bull into the pits as well, and I think a Williams coming to the line there. No, it's not Quincy. That's Babish here after setting a flying lap a couple of laps ago, but this is going to be one of his last ones. He's not going to get a chance to get another one on the board. So at the moment, it looks like to me that the only driver on a flyer so far is Herman, and he's obviously under a lot of pressure here. He only needs to finish within Andy Andre, but even then, if Andy Andre gains any points on Rush and Herman, well, he's got to take this championship to a really, really entertaining final round. 3.5 minutes to go. Herman needs to nail this lap and then nail the one after that, because Trek Evolution will be on his side. 1 minute 35 it takes on average to get round here. Can Herman do anything special? It's second place. He'll take that, a 10th behind his championship rival for the longest time. Of course, Herman, champion in Season 1, but has had to play second fiddle to Andy since Season 2. Imagine being the first champion and just to play second fiddle to someone who joined the league actually kind of rather late on, actually. Of course, Andy went from strength to strength here in this league. Like his Season 1 Origins, it was actually kind of a lot slower than he was right now, but of course, he's gone from strength to strength, and well, he's now simply the best here in SSRL, and he's failed to be beaten even when the circumstances have been dire, like especially this season as well. I have to remind you, round 2, retirement, then goes and gets married, misses 2 or 3 rounds, and now look, he is just 14 points away with 2 races to go. A total of 54 points on the board. How does Andy do this? Of course, a bit of luck has gone his way with Rush the Siri having an awful round last week, and of course actually had a DNF in Las Vegas. So the past 2 weeks have really put Rush the Siri on the back foot here. But now Mr. Wouter coming to the line, 9th place for him. So all 10 drivers have set a flying lap on the board. Herman is got Rush the Siri won't set another lap as Quincy goes fastest. Why has Rush done that? That is a mistake. I do not think that's going to pay off at all. I do not understand why Rush has gone and retired from the session early. Shaggy also to the line as well. 2nd place for him. Rush down to 7th. Why has Rush done that? I am very confused by that. I am very confused by that one. Rush the Siri not making much sense and has retired for early from the session. That has come back to bite him so far. Trying to see who is on a fastest lap so far. Herman the German has just gone through Sector 1 now. This will be his last time on the board. He's just gone through he's just going through Sector 1 as we speak. Going through turns 7 and 8. Over a second down, so I just wonder if he's just trying to warm up his tyres. I would do that. I'd just slow it right down right now and just say, okay, I'm not going to be fastest, but I think that is what he's doing. Quincy will have one final flying lap as exclamation mark nice has come in the chat. I think that is a response to Hessel's qualifying 3 time of 1:33.690. Nice. I couldn't resist. But anyway, back to affairs on track. It is Andrew currently on a flying lap as well. Wouter coming to the line to start what will be his final flying lap. If we knew how much... I did briefly see, there we go, 23 seconds to go in the session, and Wouter safely across the line. Moksha currently across the line, struggling as he drifts through turns 6, 7, and 8. Goodness me, what excellent car control. Does Andy get to the line in time? He invalidated his outlap. That doesn't matter. Can he get to the line? He has. And so he will be, wow, with only 3 seconds to go. Andy is going to be good. Herman the German comes across the line and doesn't find enough time. He won't get another flyer on the board. What a mess up here from both Rush the Siri and Herman the German. They will not go any further. Quincy is also on a lap. He's currently top of the timing boards, but he may not know that Andy has just started a final flying lap on fresh intermediate tyres. He is in the driving seat for pole, you would assume. But now we've got to keep an eye because Andrew coming to the line now is improving. Shaggy as well has completed his time, so he won't go any further forward. He might be only heading backwards for the rest of the session. Let's see what happens. Time remaining, 2 minutes 15 to get your lap on the board, which is more than comfortable for most. Andrew there across the line improves nowhere, but improves on his personal best. Moksha next to the line, he stays 10th. Then it is Bavish next across the line, but he's down and goes into the pit lane, so he will call that a day for now. But Quincy now is next across the line, or would be if it wasn't for somebody else ahead. Who is, is that Mr. Wouter? It is! Mr. Wouter stays 9th. Quincy, what can he do? No improvement for him, so that means only with... There's a Red Bull there. Danger David, what can he do? Pole position for now. But what about Andy? The Scotsman has been... Oh, and Andy won't do it. Andy won't do it. What's happened to Andy? Andy is not pole. Neither one of the top 3 champions-elect, well, 4 if you're being technical, could take advantage of each other's misfortunes. And the top 4, separated by 46 points, will line up together from 4th to 7th place. What a penultimate round we have got in store for you. Work to do for the champions-elect. But what happened to Andy there? We will have to wait and see. We will be back with you at 8:33, which is, for all your clocks, 5 minutes away. This is going to be an exciting race now. We have got this set up to be a cinematic round here in the Silly Season Racing League. The racing, we may have a silly name, but the racing is serious. Your top 10 from 1st to 10th. Danger David takes pole, Quincy in 2nd, Shaggy in 3rd, 4th is Andy Andre, followed by 5th is Bavish, ahead of everybody, which is kind of the foot that he needed. Then 6th, 7th is Rush the Siri. Andrew, Wouter, and Moksha round out your top 10, but of course Andy actually leads the way in the 4 champions-elect, but we are more than likely saying goodbye to Bavish as soon as this round is over. But don't go anywhere. Join us in 4 minutes' time for 28 or 29 laps of racing here at the Miami International Circuit. Leads us nicely into the penultimate round for Season 7 of SSRL. Welcome back, everybody. We are in Miami for what I have just said is the penultimate round on the SSRL Season 7 calendar. Next week will be the Mystery Grand Prix. I wouldn't miss it if I were you. There is still lots to be decided here. We have 4 champion elects. We have Babish, Andy, Rush the Siri, and of course Herman the German. Of course, Andy and Herman are known rivals in this league, but of course friendly rivalry. But of course you may just want to remember, if you remember back all the way to Season 3, the finale in Saudi Arabia, you may remember Rush the Siri and Herman got into a little bit of contact after a certain someone missed their breaking point, slamming into Herman and robbing him of the championship. We have been given the all clear to get started, and we will be, going on the formation lap in a few moments' time. And, of course, I will run you through your order one more time as well, just in case you have only just joined us, where you missed a full session of qualifying. So, if you're wondering why we are not underway just yet, that is, of course, the reason as to why. And now we'll get ready for the formation lap. In fact, here we go now. Let's get that music underway and we will go through your order. So it is the Scotsman of Danger David looking to make it Scotland forever here in Miami at a dry circuit. He starts pole with Quincy with a shock second place here. So this is good practice for him for tomorrow night. Of course, championship contender in Division 2. Shaggy here, a reserve, back with us after a few weeks out, and then he starts third. Andy Andre, we didn't expect this from him, but at the same time, never counting out. After a retirement in Shanghai, getting married, he starts tonight 14 points behind the champion-elects of Herman and Rush Nasiri. Babish is in 5th place, with 6th place being Herman the German. Needs to make progress quickly, as does Rush Nasiri, having a bad couple of weeks here and another bad qualifying for him. He should be higher up, and you do feel he starts 7th. Andrew here just looking to build some momentum. He could be a champions elect next season, but he's just using this season, I think, as just a way to gather some useful data. Mr. Walter 9th, followed by Moksha in 10th. Vincenzo 11th. 12th is Race Chase Truckster. After going fastest in qualifying 1, could not find the time to get out of qualifying 2. Had problem with downshifts into turn 1. He's going to be hoping that doesn't continue into the race. He starts 13th. Unlucky number for him. Rowley 14th, Tarkin Gino 15th, and of course the 2 drivers we said goodbye to in qualifying 1, and that were more than likely to be knocked out, Cerebro and Bruiser. Danger David now is going to slow right down. He wants the pack to be closer so that he can take advantage of warm tyres there. Trap saying hello Race Chase, go Quincy and go Bruiser. Bruiser, of course, one of the slower drivers in this league, but either way, still loved by everybody, as his never give up attitude is always welcomed from race to race. And here we go, lining up, line astern. Danger David will take up his spot at pole. Quincy will take up 2nd, but Danger David has overshot slightly, so he is disqualified from the formation lap. But that just means he has quad tyres for the start of the race. Andy, of course, lining up 4th. And then everybody else will be soon behind as we wait for the 2 Hasses to line up. We are going to be underway in a few moments' time. What is going to happen? Who will go through with the front foot into the Mystery Grand Prix next week? Find out in a few moments' time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Miami, and that was a better start there from Quincy. Danger David on cold tyres, and Quincy takes the lead almost immediately, cuts off the Red Bull. There's Andy already trying to find a way through. Contact between him and Babish, and that's Babish into 3rd place. He did what he needs to do there, as Herman as well, trying to find a way through. Shaggy is gone from 3rd to 6th there. Not the start he would have wanted, as Andy quickly makes his way through. Babish didn't take long at all, and Andy now into 3rd place officially, as Rush Nasiri also gets past Shaggy, but Shaggy will fight that back as hard as he possibly can, but Rush Nasiri says, I'm the championship leader and I'm coming through. He is now into 6th place there, so a bit of a swap there. Shaggy with not the best start. Let's have a look at the tyres. Everyone on mediums, but Danger David takes back the lead almost immediately. 29 laps to go at the moment, and 29 laps to come, I should say. And Danger David is through, as now Andrew gets past, and Andrew late on the brakes. Andrew very late on the brakes there and gets past Russell Series. That will not be welcomed by the championship leader. I will bring up the points tally in just a few moments' time. Truckster is also up a few positions as well. He's in 10th place. Ibo has his birthday today as well. Of course, happy birthday to Ibo. Forgot to mention that. Thank you very much, Energetic, for the reminder. But of course, Ibo with his birthday, hoping to get points for the Haas team tonight as Andrew will go defensive. And now Quincy is going defensive on Danger David, as now we have a swap for the lead potentially. But Quincy, is he braver on the brakes, or will David be braver on the brakes? Looks like it is Quincy so far, but with the traction, it looks like it's going to the Scotsman of Danger David. And there's Andy, ready to pick up the pieces, ready to take the lead. We are going 3 wide into turn 1, but Andy thinks better of it. Quincy cuts off the Mercedes there, and now we'll cut back over on Danger David. What a move from Quincy, but then what a move from Andy Andre potentially. Of course, Danger David and Andy fought for the championship back in season 4, but it's Danger David who comes out trumps for there as Shaggy continues to chop through the order as well. Moksha gets past, he's into the top 10, and Truckster also taking a position away there, as now Russell Siri, after having an intense battle with Andrew, has caught back up to the back of this, and now DRS will be activated down this straight, and surely Quincy has no response in hand for the drivers coming up. And there we go, Danger David makes his way through, but now Andy didn't really anticipate Bavish coming, and Quincy went defensive. Can he hold off the charging Mercedes? He certainly can. It gives Bavish a chance to get back at Andy, and Bavish allows himself to go wide to get the better drive, and I think he's got that done, you know. He has! What a move from Bavish as well! This is some excellent racing just to begin this Grand Prix, but Bavish has lost out big time there. He was outside of the detection point of Quincy as they came through, and now Quincy will have DRS on Danger David. You have a perfect view there of all the battles unfolding right in front of you, and there we go. Quincy back to the lead of the race, but for how long? Truckster also making a move for 8th. Bit of a swap for 12 as well. Shaggy really dropping down the order. These dry conditions are not suiting that McLaren of his for some reason. Quincy with the fastest lap, but down David right back on the attack into turn 1, but nowhere to go, and Bavish won't be allowed to catch up with all of that. And here we go again. So the 4 champion elect from 6th to 3rd now. This is a rather cinematic, a cinematic start to this race, and even Hessel complimenting Quincy on his move earlier on. Brief caution in sector 1. That is all cleared up though, and we won't be seeing any more of that. Rowley did actually try to make a move on the McLaren of Shaggy, but that was never on. As now, we might be starting to see a DRS train from 1st to 10th, but here we go. Let's go again, as the action will ramp up very quickly. Rear wings opening for David and Bavish, and I think Bavish there is going to start making a move. Remember, Bavish got himself into trouble after making a 3-wide situation in Vegas on the last lap, which of course I think everybody in this chat just about witnessed. And there is also some swapping in the background as well. Rowley very deep into turn number 11, now through 12, and there is more side-by-side action, but Rowley comes out top in that regard. And well, we're going to have to be doing a lot of cutting back and forth here towards the action. Despite how close this all is, as we have a caution. Bruiser is wide at turn 11. He will get underway again. Is there any damage? But we need to kind of cut back, because Danger David has just taken the lead, and now Shaggy as well is battling with the Ferrari of Vincenzo. He gets 12th place here, but now again we cut back to the lead of the race. Truckster with the fastest lap of them all, currently in 7th, catching up to this battle here, which is so entertaining. Let's see what's happening down here though. It is currently Moksha, trying to fight with Mr. Walter, who was also trying to get past the Aston Martin of Andrew in front, but there's more battling as well up and down the field. Where do you look at any given time? Traps there saying no to Bruiser, not I won't say unhappy, but definitely upset with what happened there with Bruiser's mistake. Bruiser has continued on, no need to pit for him, but either way on lap 4 out of 29. The champion select is starting to get a bit scrappy here in Miami, but Quincy and Danger David are still trying to build a gap here, and Danger David looked like he was able to meet that apex a lot better than the Williams was. A bit of understeer there as Tarkin Gino now past Shaggy. Is there a problem with Shaggy's equipment potentially, because he is not making any moves? He has been falling down the order. They've oh no, the King Sauber and the McLaren have touched. Neither one gave the room, and now that will mean Shaggy keeps 14th position for now, but either way that's going to be maybe taken to the stewards straight after this race. Lap 4 out of 29, and are we going to see any moves down the inside? Andy with a bit of a lock up there. He's starting to lose touch with all this, and with Herman right behind, the pressure is definitely on. And even Wouter there with a move on Moksha. I think Moksha might have actually dived a little deep there, and it might have allowed Wouter with the over-under. As we've had another moment, and that is Bruiser again. Where has he gone there? He's in the wall. He's right in the wall. We continue racing as we were, but Bruiser is struggling himself. And there we go. Traps will be screaming to the heavens about that one. I can tell you that for free. But look at this. It is a 7-car battle for the lead of this race. Andrew is currently being dropped. Well, then again, I said that. And then he's right back in the DRS. And he's got there by the time they got to the detection point. And as of the top 10. So the top 10 in a battle of their own. As Rush Siri finally, for his sake, gets past Herman the German and is now ready to attack Andy, who went very late to the inside. But either way, Rush Siri had the room. Maybe a little bit of contact between the two, but nothing major. And now Rush Siri tried to make it work, but couldn't. Bruiser gets a 10-second penalty for track limit violations, as Tarkangino as well, swapping with Shaggy for 14th place, but I think we can sort of let that battle continue on off camera, because this is where the business end of the championship is. We're already on lap 5 out of 29, and this race is proving to be one of the most cinematic I have seen so far. Rush Siri is starting to charge up the field, has already got past Herman, would love to try and get past. What is Truckster doing? Oh no! What happened to Truckster? Did he have that downshift problem that he alluded to earlier on? Because that might have allowed Rush Siri to get through. Andy has the DRS now, and he's back through for 4th place down the inside of turn 1. What happened to Truckster there? We saw him skip up the timing boards oh so suddenly, and he was missing a front wing end plate. And has that given damage to some of the champions elect? Has that given damage to somebody? We don't know, but nervous moments here on the broadcasting booth, because we don't know what Truckster's incident has caused for somebody else around. No, Truckster, says Hessel, who was on a great drive so far. Qualified 13th after being fastest in Q1. And now, well, right back down there, unfortunately for Truckster. Inconsistency issues costing him again. I think Bruiser's had another accident. He has. Indeed. In fact, that's actually Sir Ibbo, who's had an accident as well. He continues on, but now there's the champions elect approaching Bruiser, lapped on lap 6 out of 29. That has not taken long at all. But now it's for surely going to have to be a defensive maneuvers here from the leader, but whether it's worth it is another matter entirely. Caution in sector 2 still for the slowed down Bruiser as Quincy gets past there. The first time of asking under DRS, but it looks like nobody was really damaged from Truckster's late braking maneuver. Still one place ahead of his qualifying position. Yes, that is correct, but either way, he will be carrying wing damage and needs to get that replaced sooner rather than later, or else he'll find Vincenzo on his back. Lap 7 out of 29, there's been constant swapping for the lead. Andy looks to be dropping back as well. Really could use a few tenths here and there. And, well, Rush Siri will welcome that. If he can keep Andy from getting him the DRS, well, guess what? Advantage Rush Siri on the next DRS zone. But I just don't see that happening at the moment, as Andy has been able to stay within a second. And as they get to the detection point, the activation point is only a few moments after that. And here we go. You should see the rear wings open. In fact, you can see it open on the cars ahead. And here we go. Rush Siri much closer at this time of asking. Andy will go a little defensive, but Rush Siri decides not to take that opportunity and will wait. But that was Danger David at the front there, just going wide through turn 12. Might have allowed Babish a window, but it wasn't big enough. And now the top 6 are together again, as Rush Siri and Rowley going side by side as well. Look at that. That is Rowley holding on to 10th place there. He's 7.2 seconds away from the top 10 after Truckster's little incident. So, of course, that's brought them all sorts of together. But how even Vincenzo might be having a look down and having a go at one of the elects. But here we go. Rush Siri potentially ready to have a go. Not quite. Will he try it into the next turn? Of course, Babish has been a bit concertinaed there by Quincy, and I think this is a deliberate tactic just to kind of be a bit slower off the apex and to allow everybody to just sort of bunch up together. This helped him more than anybody. Oh, wow, this is really, you can't, well, blink and you miss it kind of thing. Truckster into the pits and serves a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Not what he would have wanted us. Now we have another Haas off. That is Bruiser again, having another moment, already lapped in this race. Does he have any more, well, do you want to add any more salt to the wound? Because that's what constantly happens whenever there's a yellow flag out. It's usually been one of the Haas drivers, barring Truckster for an exception, of course. The RSO number 2 has been approached. David to the inside, and he will take away first place for now. But Quincy will fight that back, and he's going to fight for that hard, because this is, remember, going to be building, like, you know, a certain memory for Division 2 tomorrow night. In the background as well, Andrew tried to get past Herman, but Herman didn't allow it. He holds on to 6th place there. But now Rustasiri is going to have yet another go at Andy Andre. And this, you would argue, is the most important time to be having a go. Does he want to be ahead at the pit lane while going into the pits? Or does he want to be behind Quincy and David there? You can just see as Rustasiri very kindly gives us a nice view there of the leading battle. But it is Quincy who holds on to the lead of the race for the time being, as now David will depart for the pit lane entry. But who's going to follow in? Andy follows in. Rush, Herman, Andrew, Bavish and Quincy stay out for now. Will this allow anything to happen? Well, Rustasiri may not have DRS towards the next zone, and he'll be vulnerable to Herman. So these next corners are vital for the Ferrari driver. My other podium guess is Quincy, Bavish and Herman. We'll keep a note of that. But of course, if Rustasiri is to lose any points to Herman, well, that should give Herman the championship lead. I will just get the point out for you in the next few moments. But otherwise now, into the pits was David and Andy Andre. David obviously comes out ahead of Vincenzo, so that's actually important there. Being ahead of Vincenzo, that means the pace is good enough now. So if you're one of the top 2, I would honestly begin suggesting to pit sooner rather than later. This could be a very important moment in this race. But at the moment right now, as Andy Andre there has already made a move on Vincenzo there, so that means he's not going to be held up for much longer. So at the first point of asking, Andy gets through and won't be held up much longer. But now we need to see how this all plays out. Andrew there defending from Moksha. Of course, Moksha only in 6th place thanks to some pit stops that have happened here and there. As now Truckster has made a move as well. He's up into 14th place, but remember, has a 10-second penalty to serve. Race chase now through on Rowley himself. And at the moment now, things are starting to calm down a little bit. We've had a frantic first few moments of the race now, as both Haas drivers have brought out yellow flags for one reason or another. But they are quickly cleared up, and we will resume the action here in Miami. And even, well, everybody's saying Welter doing pretty decent so far, and I do agree with that. But remember, he hasn't made a pit stop just yet, and if there was a safety car to come out at this point, well, gee, that would cause a real stir to the order, and David and Andy would have a lot of hard work to do. They would be behind Race Chase, and more importantly, behind the drivers separating them from Rustasiri and Herman. And of course Bavish as well. Bavish still in this championship, but more than likely to get knocked out of the running once tonight has been concluded. But he is doing everything that he needs to do. He just needs to hope that something can happen to both Rustasiri, Herman and Andy. And at the moment now, he is just ahead of both of them. But either way, it will be an upset if he wins this and then says goodbye to the championship running straight after. But either way, Rustasiri just had a very poor couple of rounds, and unfortunately that really has sealed his fate for now. But you never know, the racing gods of SSRL do have a sense of humor. You just need to remember how, of course, Season 4 went down to the last race. 3 drivers separated by 3 points. And then, of course, Herman leading the championship for the final round in Season 3. Rustasiri missing his braking point at Turn 1 of Saudi Arabia, knocking Herman off the track and knocking Herman away from his, well, championship. And so SSRL, the gods here, have a sense of humor, and you just never know what can happen and on this league. And, well, you know it will be great. Danger David there with the fastest lap. We just saw a 3-second penalty for track limit violations for Truckster there. So old habits are returning for the Red Bull driver there. He'll, of course, be hoping to squash those in the next, well, in time for tomorrow night, where he is, of course, one of the fastest drivers in the league. Babish will still have DRS as they go through into turn 11 right now, but Rush the Siri is right on the attack, and this is important for the championship. Babish there, deep on the brakes. This is not going to be what Rush would have wanted. Herman as well realizes he needs to make a move on Andrew, because guess what? Andrew has lost DRS at this moment in time. Danger David has made a move for 9th place. He's just got past Rowley, so he is really on the charge. If I'm either Babish Rush or Rush the Siri, I'm thinking I really need to cover off the rivals that have pitted, and if I don't, I am in all sorts of trouble. And also, look at it, the clouds are going grey here. We might be looking at overcast skies in a moment. Well, we already are, but now that's Rush the Siri down the inside. Has he got that done? He has. There we go. The move on Babish is done, but he won't have DRS once he goes through into the next zone, which is just here. No rear wing opening, but there's not really enough of a straight to make it work as well. To now into the pits. 10 laps on medium tyres, and he is saying I am all done and dusted. Well, 11 laps technically. Danger David with the fastest lap again, and now pit stops are beginning to happen. Mr. Walter pits in, and where is he going to come out? He should be easily ahead of Vincenzo, if I'm being honest. Vincenzo's just going through the final corner now. Rowley is still in the pit lane, so he's definitely in trouble, but Mr. Walter makes his way onto the pit exit, and yeah, comfortably ahead of Vincenzo there, but of course a long way behind Andy Andre and Danger David. Speaking of, we are about to see them make a move now. They're already carving their way through the field. Those pit stops will have helped, but now we are going to get an idea for where they are on the track. And well, look at that. Danger David wasting no time at all. Already passing Race Chase. He knows his race is not with them, and that is the Red Bull through into 7th position for the time being. But now, if you rush the Siri, you're thinking, oh goodness, the championship rivals aren't that far away. Are they hanging on for something which is never coming? Maybe a safety car, maybe just a miracle from the racing gods. And I know Herman will have to ask for a miracle right now. DRS opening for the Alpine, and now he is going to be through, and that is a move done for 4th. But Herman now needs to try and get that gap down to the top 3 sooner rather than later. 1.4 seconds as he goes on to lap 12 out of 13, but no, it's going to be straight to the pits. And Rush the Siri with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is not what he needed. Oh no! Rush the Siri has really done himself dirty and sped in the pit lane. Both Andy and David have gone through. Herman gets a fresh set of hards, as does Rush the Siri, but will it matter? He will be hoping it will be removed. But upset for the championship leader here in Miami, and that will not be welcome as Mr. Walter has just got through on Babish, but Babish is not giving up the fight here as we go through, and Mr. Walter has got the position. Well, what a pit stop from the Racing Bulls driver, and now he is ahead of Babish, but will he have the DRS? I think Babish here will be in will have a better run here. Here we go again. Babish here will need to now dump his battery. Herman is not too far behind either. He will need to open DRS. And I think Babish is going to be right up the inside of Mr. Walter. And yeah, that was as easy as you like. So despite all that fighting earlier on in the lap, Mr. Walter does concede the position and will now begin probably falling back here, as Herman will be the next past him, I would imagine. But either way, poorly timed pit stop from both Rush the Siri, well, from all three, Rush the Siri, Babish, and not Mr. Walter, Herman the German there. And now, Andy Andre is ahead of all of them and is looking to more than likely take the lead of this championship before, when we conclude tonight. DRS opening for Herman, but couldn't find a way through. That defense too strong from Babish there, and there you go. Andy is now 2nd place, hoping to take the win here, but Danger David seems to have found some pace here as we approach the halfway point of the Grand Prix here. Rush the Siri assumes 3rd position for now. I am still trying to find that points total for you, and I'll be with you in a few moments' time. Yeah, I'll have to do some digging to find that out. And then, well, I'll certainly get back to that at the end of this race, or maybe at a safety car period. But either way, now it is Truxter and Vincenzo fighting there. And Truxter already missing a front wing end plate already there. So Truxter has come across more damage, so he will need to try and get some things down before the end of this race. And of course, going into tomorrow, where he'll be racing with us in Division 2. Right now, Babish is starting to lead the way, and well, can Rustasiri get that 7-second gap down to Andy Andre? Not that it will matter, because then he will have a 10-second penalty, but could he perhaps get that removed before the end of this race? You never know. Well, not before the end of this race. Anyway, it would really need a safety car to come into play and try to bring him back into it. But Vincenzo and Truxter are definitely having a great fight there. They're bringing some entertainment to the circuit. That's for 13th place at the moment. Truxter, of course, with 13 seconds in total penalties. Of course, one for speeding in the pit lane, another for a 3-second penalty. We'll see if Rustasiri can appeal that one, but it doesn't look like it will be, because I think that those do stay, as now Babish with the fastest lap of the race, so he would take the extra point away. As now, here we go, Herman and Andrew begin fighting, and Andrew round the outside of turn 1 gets the move done. That is not what he would have wanted at all there. Herman, of course, one of the champion select, and now Herman is about to lose big points here, as now Quincy is going to have a fight with his good friend, but it is Herman that wins out for now. Of course, you were never going to make a move there, Stick. And now through 6, 7, and 8, we'll soon be seeing the DRS opening for all of this pack. Babish starting to apply the pressure to Rustasiri. Here we go, DRS opening for all of these drivers, and that is going to be Quincy through on Herman the German. He is starting to lose pace on these hard tyres. Can Herman fight back in any way? Not quite. And he'll have to slot in behind the main admin here in SSRL and just hope to fight another day. Just keep an eye on the leading battle for you. Danger David running away with this one by nearly 3 seconds. Andy Andre is also losing pace to Rustasiri, who is closing that gap, 5.8 seconds. Bruiser has now left the session, and I do think he is in the pit lane, so I think it will be a full retirement for him. But here we go, Andrew even. Oh my goodness me, who is that late on the brakes? That is Quincy, and contact at turn number 17 there. And that is a spun round Aston Martin and a spun round Williams. And after such a good run from Quincy there, he will go into the pit lane and retire from the session. That is a red-faced moment there from the Williams, just late on the brakes there. Makes contact with Andrew there, who was having a good race of his own, which has been slightly ruined after that. So that means now Herman gets a bit of free real estate, but now has a lot of work to do. So Quincy off there, and well, contact with Andrew means that race has come to an end for him. A rather unfortunate way to end it. But now here we go. So Herman now is going to fight for 5th place, and he needs every position that he can make, because he is losing ground to both Babish, Rustasiri, and Andy Andre. And now your 4 champion select will be 4th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. What a race this is becoming. And now Mr. Walter and Moksha will go fighting. Moksha said the top 10 was just so far away a couple of weeks ago, but now he is actually fighting within it, thanks to a couple of things happening out on track. And Mr. Walter is not too far away from being the McLaren's next target, but maybe not under here at the DRS point of, well, not at the first time of asking after being overtaken. But now Moksha still trying to see if he could get any kind of advantage going into the next turn, which is 17, but no dice there for him. So Iber and Bruiser will eventually benefit, but Bruiser not in control of that car. That is now operated by AI. I'm just beginning to wonder. Bruiser has been having problems with the game. He's had crashes galore, and maybe, just maybe, and yes, no, indeed, Bruiser's game did freeze, and so yeah, no, that's why he is no longer with us. So there is a real issue with Bruiser's game, and it's just not seemingly working to its full effect. I don't know if you can believe this, guys, but we have had 17 laps of racing already, and there is still more to go, as Herman now is really trying to make up for lost time here. 3.8 seconds separates him from Babish. And at the moment now, Herman losing ground to everybody in front now. And Russasiri is actually gaining ground. And he maybe start to put Andy under pressure towards the end of this race. But Andy is also catching Danger David 2.3 seconds. So we could have one of the most cinematic endings to an SSRL race here. And Herman might even still be able to catch up with all of this. You just never know. You can't really tell which way it's going to go. And, well, it is certainly all eyes to the front. But, of course, Rushasiri does have that outstanding 10-second penalty to serve, which I don't know if we'll see a safety car, in all honesty. I just don't personally see it happening. But then again, it only takes one moment for something to go wrong. As now we're on lap 18 out of 29. Andrew trying to make his way through Moksha. But no dice there as they go through into turn 1. Wasn't really close enough to get alongside and make the move. As finally Bruiser's car will make up the time after Quincy's DNF there. Andrew did get an apology from Quincy. He says, "So sorry, please report," which I am sure he will do, as Andrew there lost a bunch of time after that collision. Down to 8th he went and lost touch with that battle with Herman and Wouter as well. You know what? I think Babish is playing a very deliberate game here. He is actually allowing himself to benefit from the straight line speed of Rushasiri, but he knows that Rushasiri is catching Andy Andre. But if that penalty is to be removed, well, this becomes a rather excellent Grand Prix, because then Rushasiri is genuinely fighting here for the win of this race. At the moment, the gap is being brought down to the 2 in front. Babish does have, as we have a caution set to 2 here, that's one of the Hasses. In fact, that's both of them having a bit of a fight there. That's Suribo defending from the AI of Bruiser. Of course, Suribo's birthday today, but doesn't look like points will be on the cards for him. Really needs another retirement, as now Race Chase and Rolly begin to swap positions. And now there you go, there's the battle happening at the back. Bruiser there on the back of his teammate. Of course, they are not fighting for the same position. It is very much a lapped affair. Bruiser will now go down the inside and make his way through. But let's focus on affairs elsewhere, because now Russasiri is only 1.4 seconds away from Andy Andre. At the moment, Russasiri has worked to bring that gap down. But has he used up the best of his tyres? That's another thing to ask as well. Andy Andre has 3.2 seconds to Danger David. I think he knows his championship is not with the Scotsman this season. Of course, the Scotsman is mathematically out of this one already. And, certainly it would be nice to see Danger David right back at the top there, fighting for the title like he did in Season 4. It was just unfortunate how it all ended for him after having such an entertaining season in Season 4, and to have it end in a Danger David DNF. I just felt like we got robbed of a potentially great championship battle. But here we go now. Andy Andre has been caught, and Babish is starting to smell an opportunity to try and gain some points and keep himself in this championship. But he has to rely that Andy doesn't fight this too hard, and that Rushasiri is also... Andy Andre into the pits! Danger David as well! What? Hey? Are we seriously considering it's a two-stop affair here in Miami? I am shocked by that. As Andy Andre, obviously, as we already said, into the pits as well. So Andrew was distracted. It's a two-stop. Too long for the hards. Quincy in with some information there. Danger David is now out of the pit, so that means Rushasiri is basically out of this Grand Prix, unless if there's a late safety car here in Miami. And now DRS will open for Babish as we go down the straight, separating turn 8 from turn 11. We are getting ready to see another battle, but either way, Babish couldn't get close enough there. Herman the German 3.8 seconds back. And now, we're going to see what else is going on around the track. Moksha doing a very good job there in 6th position, but of course now we do have a second pit stop to come. So we already know this is really becoming tense stuff here, and there we go. I'm just bringing up the points now for you. Like I said, a maximum of 27 points available, but that is, of course, dependent on the fastest lap. So 26 points is the max there, as now Rush Siri and Bavish are going to go side by side here. Well, they will go for another lap, hoping that a miracle could happen, but Bavish here bringing us a great fight here. It's a shame about the series 10-second penalty, which will be coming in the next pit stop. The camera cuts away. Nasiri defends hard. He knows that this is do or die. He wants to be in touch with Bavish when they get to the next DRS zone. The Mauritian driver has struggled throughout this second half of this season. A great first half, but rather ruined after a penalty in Las Vegas had saw him just drop down the order. Of course, a non-finishing guitar meant here is 63-second penalty had to carry over into last week's Abu Dhabi race. That was a final position of 17th. But at the moment now, in Miami, he's doing all that he needs to do. Gets past the Ferrari for the lead of this race. And now, well, he's hoping to build a bit of a gap before his next pit stop. Andrew and Mr. Martin swap positions there. That is Andrew up into 4th place. Of course, no championship contention there. Well, no championship at stake there for these two. They're just battling for pride more than anything. But at the moment now, it's certainly a couple of battles here that are proving to be entertaining. Even Herman, after all of that battling at the first part of the lap, has been allowed to catch up to this as well. So let's see what happens here. Russell Syria, will he go into the pits? I'm sure that he will. Oh, but a bit long on the brakes, and that is a fatal mistake in the championship picture, because Herman is given free real estate, and that is Rush down to 3rd, but Herman up to 2nd place. And now, if Herman really gets things together, he could probably chase down Bavish for the win of this race. But I don't know if Herman feels he needs to make another pit stop. This would be a miracle if he didn't need to. Andy with the fastest lap of the race on mediums, of course, but Andy down in 9th position and is about to lose out big time here. This could be heard through the grapevine that Pleasant Sake is doing 35 zeros in quali. So there's a bit of information for Division 2 tomorrow, but I want to keep focused on Division 1 because neither Herman, Rush or Bavish have come in for their next stops, and I just wonder if maybe they're going to try and brave it till the end of this race. It would be very risky, and Bavish kind of needs to do that regardless, because he wants to please 6 is the one-stop strategy. Well. Quincy with all sorts of you, they will not be stopping. And well, has Andy thrown away a potential championship glory by going on the 2-stopper? Well. Bavish is currently leading this race. He's done what he needs to do. He just needs to hold it there. But Herman now, if he takes the win, he will be leading by the time we go into next week's finale. And he would be on for his 2nd championship. But Andy Andre, don't count him out yet. He can chug his way through the field when he needs to. And well, let's cut to him right now. The championship, the one looking to hold his championship going into next week's Mystery Grand Prix. Very nearly late on the brakes, locks up a little bit, maybe just distracts Race Chase a little bit. And there you go. That is a very easy move into 8th place there. But now 6.7 seconds to the car in front. And that is Danger David, who was hoping to win, but looks like he cannot go anymore longer. Imagine if Cadillac gets this sponsor, names himself Lockheed Martin Cadillac F1. Oh, goodness me. That is quite the sponsor name there. Welcome on in and welcome into SSRL. Hope you've been enjoying the broadcast so far. And at the moment, we are poised for a very entertaining late Grand Prix here. Russell Siri just gets past Southern German, but it doesn't matter. 10-second penalty coming his way post-race, and I think Herman has actually done that on purpose to allow Russell Siri to get within the DRS of the Williams in front. Intelligent move there from the Alpine driver. No pressure, no immediate pressure coming from David or Andy Andre. And in fact, Andy is losing time to the Scotsman here. I don't think we're going to be saying Scotland forever by the time the end of this race. And thank you for the follow there. I don't know how to say that name, as that looks like you've gone and smashed your head on the keyboard. But either way, I do appreciate the bravery for that, and thank you for the follow. Thank you. That is oh so kind of you. But now, a couple of battles still to decide, and here is Danger David currently catching up. But you know what? Don't count him out. 7 laps to go, 6 at the line. And now we could be looking at a very tense end, a 4-car battle potentially for the lead of this race, but Danger David needs to really make quick work of these 4. Well, he's got past 1. He now needs to get past the other 2. Don't make a desperate dive into turn 1. Just assume 6th place for the time being. But the top 3... oh no, what happened to Quincy? Late on the brakes, got distracted and then hit Andrew and then came into the pits to retire after that. But Quincy has encouraged Andrew to report that. But no safety cars at the moment. Now, just to remind you, chat, if we get within 3 laps to go, no further safety cars will be deployed. And, well, then it will just be a straight fight to the finish. And we are only 3 laps away from all of that. But, of course, anything can change in a moment's notice as Danger David carving his way through the field as well, making quick work of this. He needs to. He needs to take every opportunity he can, as Mr. Walter cannot decide if he wants to visit his alien overlords or not. And that throws him off the corner for turn 11. Now through turn 12. Contact between the 2. That's what I'm talking about! Contact between Mr. Walter and Moksha. But what? What? Huh? Where's he gone? How did that happen? What? Huh? Okay. Decent issue there from Mr. Wouter, as he went and couldn't decide if he wanted to visit his alien overlords or not. But that is now David into 4th position with 5 laps to go. 4.2 seconds. The Scotsman here needs to go flying and find a second a lap. There is no other way to do it, as now Herman has been released by Rush the Siri. He could not keep within the DRS, but maybe Herman will be thankful, but he's not even within DRS range of Babish in front. Will Babish be taking a win that he also needs, but it won't be enough, as he will say goodbye to the championship. That looked like Router got pushed through the roof. Predictions at the moment, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to end. Andy has dropped off entirely. He will be in a very awkward position. He will only score 8 points as things stand right now. He's not really catching Moksha at a great rate of knots. We know David is on the podium regardless, but we need to see if Herman can make this battle oh so entertaining. All the top 3 share 12 laps on hards, but Danger David only has 5. I said he needed a second a lap. He's gone and taken 2 seconds on this lap alone. Look at what Fresh Tyres does. And Herman with DRS, I don't know how he did it, but he's done it. And that is going to be most important. 4 laps to go at the line. And this is going to go down to the wire. And Danger David may just do it. Babish, Herman, and Danger is what he's saying. But Quincy has just realised that, what on earth? 3 seconds! Danger David is going at a rapid rate of knots. He has just taken off 3 seconds from Rush the Siri. He is now in contention for this win with 4 laps to go. I said he needed a second a lap. He's just gone on 1 lap and taken 3. Challenge accepted. The Scotsman is indeed flying through the pack. He wants to say Scotland forever, but potentially the last time in SSRL, at least while I am here. And now Herman is going to try and fight for this win as well, but it's not going to be easy. He needs to make a move sooner rather than later on the Mauritius driver, Babish here, who has had an absolutely stellar Grand Prix. It's not what he would have wanted. But, yes, well, it's not going to go into next week, as Babish did, of course, have a massive penalty to serve, carried over 2 weeks, a DNF in Qatar, a 63-second post-race penalty for major collisions all the way back in Las Vegas 2 or 3 weeks ago. The strat for Danger David is a 2-stop, and it's working out beautifully. He will have DRS coming down the straight, but you feel that he has to get the move done now, or going into turn 1. He wasn't close enough there, so he needs the exit from heaven as he goes through turn 17. Here we go. Danger David has closed the gap. He is right alongside Rush the Siri. Rush the Siri goes into recharge. Danger David flies past the Ferrari driver, and now the top 2 are 1.7 seconds away. What on earth has Danger David found right here in Miami? 3 to go. Herman is still fighting, but has had a moment going through, and now Danger David will be looming large in his mirrors in the next few moments. Look at the time he takes out in this sector. But Herman is now going to get on the attack. Let's go on board with the Alpine. He will know the Red Bull is right behind. He's not using much battery at all. He doesn't try the move going down into 11, but he's going to know he's going to lose time here. Danger David with the fresher tyres is going to be gaining all the time. Look at that, 1.3, 1.2. It is going down corner by corner, lap by lap, moment by moment, and now under a second. Wow, what an effort from the Scotsman. The 2-stop was the strat indeed. Medium, hard. Danger David does indeed have an extra stop, but Herman is going to go around the outside for his championship now. It will be 2 to go on the line. There's a lap traffic in front. That'll help Babish more than anything, but Herman is fended off for now. But will Babish be able to fend off the Flying Scotsman? Herman will try it again. Penultimate lap. He gets through. Herman leads the Miami Grand Prix. But now, watch out, everybody. There's a Flying Scotsman behind you, and it could be Scotland forever here in Miami. And there will be no safety car deployed. Danger David tried to go early, but no way through. He knows he has time, but he's also knowing he's losing time to Herman in front. Will we see? Who will we see at the top? We don't know. We don't know. Here we go. DRS will open for both the Williams and the Red Bull. Let's go on board with Danger David. But that was a closing gap. Goodness me. Danger David leaving it all out on the table. But now Babish needs to defend. He knows he does. He's up against fresher tyres on that Red Bull. His tyres are old by 7 laps on the Williams. But he holds off the charging Red Bull for now, but then there will be another opportunity. It's coming right up, and Herman has lost a bit of time there. He's got no dirty. Danger David there bumps into the back of the Williams there, and I just think that maybe Danger David has lost out here after all of that. Caution in sector 3 for Trugster there. He's had a moment. He's on soft tyres. Of course, uninterrupted by race control, as no safety car will be deployed in these final few laps. But now, here we go. Babish wants to still win, you would imagine, but there isn't many opportunities to do it. It's the final lap here in Miami. Who will come out on top, as now Rustasiri has been caught by everybody? I don't quite know what happened to him. Andy has also made a move here for 7th. And in fact, Andy is right at the back of this. But now we need to see what's happening, because Babish has lost touch with Herman. So he's going to have no DRS. I think we are going to be seeing a Herman win here in Miami. And Andy has gone and got the champ. Well, he's gained on Rustasiri as well. He's got another couple of cars to overtake us, Andy. But here we go. Can Danger David make this an epic final few moments on the final lap? Danger David into second, but for how long? Babish will defend that. He forces the Red Bull wide, but the Red Bull says, no, you don't. And he will get through. But for how long? No, Danger David didn't have the grip of my brand. No! Taken out is Babish. What a moment to end that on. Oh my, what a Babish in the wall. Oh no, this could cause controversy. Babish needs to be careful. He's not being careful at all. Oh my word. What a moment. On the final lap of the race, it will be Herman taking the win here in Miami. Danger David couldn't fly fast enough, but it's Herman. Well, guess who is on top for the final round? It is going to be Herman the German winning in Miami. And that means, guess who? It is Herman with the one hand on the trophy. But look at this. Andrew got 3rd there. Moksha nearly had it. And after all of that, Andy also got 5th place. And, well, Cam Rustasiri and Babish with no front wing. Oh, my goodness me. He won't get past. So, yeah, Babish does officially say goodbye there. Wow. Jesus H. Christ, says Silly Season Racing Eagle, so known as Quincy Hessel there. Another moment of controversy between Babish and Danger David. all the way back from Las Vegas there. Rowley gets across the line. Who took the fastest lap on that one? We need to have a look because every point counts. It was Rowley in the end. So none of the champions-elect get the additional point. Chaos persists, says Hessel, and Vincenzo will come across the line 12th place. But Rush the Series is saved a bit of grace there. But now, before we take some podium interviews, we need to do some calculations here. First place, Herman the German. I don't think that second is going to stick for Danger David, if I'm being honest with you. I don't see that sticking. So that may all change. You just never know. There are going to be some words after that. I can tell you that for free. I am just going to check the Discord very, very quickly as we have the podium celebrations. Yep. Bavish not happy. David not happy. And yeah, David lost his temper after being given an illegal overtake. So that is why we saw David concede the position. He could have just been a bit more patient if he'd have just waited for that final DRS zone. But Herman taking the win. He doesn't care what's happened behind. I think initially Babish was in the wrong, but on the second corner, David was in the wrong. Hessel giving a perfect. I think that is as perfect as you can get. But anyway, we know who's won. Fastest lap going to Rowley. Driver of the day, Andy Andre. Most overtakes was Trugster, with cleanest driver being Andy. I agree with all of that, to be honest with you. Herman, Danger David, and Andrew round out your unofficial podium, with 4th and 5th being Moksha and Andy Andre. Walter, Russia Siri, Bavish, Race Chase, and Rowley round out your top 10. 11th to 15th is Tark and Gino, Vincenzo, Trugster, Shaggy, Sir Ibbo. And then Bruiser and Quincy round out your top 17 with, of course, Bruiser. Well, no, Quincy being the non-finisher and Bruiser as well. Hang on. What was screenshot? Oh, it was F12. Damn it. Unfortunately, I did not get a screenshot of the results there, so I don't know. Well, maybe I could just go back and pause the stream. In fact, no, I can't. Okay, great. Let's see if I can. No. No, I cannot. So I don't quite... I've actually just lost the results there. But we know Herman won that. Where was the series finished? I think it was like P7 or... Yeah, it was P7 because Andy got P5. There is a lot to go through. I'm going to have to try and see if anyone can send me... Quincy, if you can send me the results unofficially. Then take it from there. To me, it looked like Bavish cut too sharp into the apex and doing that hit David. And then they kept getting tangled up. David tipped Bavish around. Yeah, I think David is going to get more of the blame for that, but Bavish obviously pushed the Red Bull wide, and that's what caused. I mean, that's what kind of was the catalyst for all of that. That doesn't explain away what David did, of course, but I'm just saying that's definitely what happened. But anyway, I think we're gonna have to start getting ready for some podium interviews. Of course, we are just waiting for Danger David and what's his face, Andrew, to make his way in here. So let's just make sure and see if they can. Of course, just to remind you all, it is Sir Ibo's birthday today, so we'll see what happens there. But of course, of course, I did have a point to make there, but anyway, at the moment, we do have 2 of our 3 podium drivers in here, but I think, yeah, Herman the German, well, looking for his second title, definitely has his hands on it now. Well, definitely one hand on the title. That is certainly the biggest takeaway from tonight. We're just waiting for Danger David to make his way, but maybe not. Oh, sorry, mate, I'm done. So there we go. That's all said and done. So David will not be joining us, and with that, we will get this started. Well, Herman the German, the win when you needed it most. Congratulations on a win in Miami. Going into next week, wherever that may be, the ball is in your court.
Yeah. Oh. Hang on. Give me a sec. All right. Yeah. To be honest, I've been here before, and I don't think I like it that much. Like, obviously, the win is very, very enjoyable, but I don't know. Like, there's already some film going on in my head where everything can go wrong once again, because it had been already. Like for Saudi in season 3, I couldn't do really anything, but I did my best in Spain as well, but there was just no way to get rid of Andy, and then he just made an easy pass, and there was like no way to defend that anyway. So yeah, I'm interested. Obviously, that blind race basically where when we don't know where we're going is obviously more thrilling, and I think that's a very fitting end as well. And honestly, I didn't expect that here today. Again, if someone had told me Mexico and Miami win and Abu Dhabi podium, would have laughed at someone who said that to me. So yeah, ball my park, but lots and lots of things can happen. A lot of people were in the fight here today, and yeah, they can obviously help or make or break a race. And yeah, if I maybe get collected by that Quincy collision with Andrew, things could have gone differently. So yeah, good race still. Said I was not good, didn't enjoy that, but was very very good in my tire wear. I had lots and lots left at the end. I think tried to push a bit more, pushed into bearish DRS, and then yeah, made a very crucial move at the start of lap 28. Then aggressive defending from bearish, it seems. Didn't only saw it on the track map, so yeah, I'm gonna take that. And obviously, yeah, Andy only 5th, Rush 7th. Yeah, that's good for me, obviously.
And so I'm trying to calculate all the points now. If Quincy could just do me a favor and try and get the unofficial results to me of the 4 champions elect. Obviously, Bavish is now out of this. I don't know if you caught what happened, but actually Bavish and David just got a bit caught up in the final couple of corners there, and so that just left you in the end to get away. But now, it's I don't really know what else to say. That was just such a race there. Was the one stop always on there for you, or were you ever considering the 2 stop, as that that seemed to be the fastest strategy? David was really close to you towards the final few laps.
Yeah, honestly, I think the one stop was more on than the 2 stop. I obviously looked at the delta and felt like 19 seconds basically worth of at pit loss is still good for a track like this, and there's like never a problem with tire warm up. So my major concern was that if the people split up too heavily and there's like big gaps opening, but I think everyone who was in between me and when both Andy and David pitted for the last time and emerged behind them, that was good. And yeah, I think that was one scary moment for me. My wheels suddenly disconnected on the main straight, on these like bendy straight before the stadium section, and I had to let Andrew through, but he wasn't faster, slowed me a bit down there, and then suddenly was very close to him as well. And I didn't. I was a bit scared that something on the technical side would happen, so I was a bit more cautious at the start of the second stint. I think tires, were obviously very important. I don't know what missed here today. I feel like I was slow in the straights, but not particularly faster in the corner. So my setup, compromise basically wasn't really that great. Enjoyed quali though on that. Wasn't too bad. I just missed the final attempt by 1 second over the line, which maybe could have moved me into P4 or something. But how the race went, I'm glad it happened. A lot of fighting at the front, and the main point for me was to look at where the tires were on lap 10, and from that I was like, okay, surely we are gonna continue. And like Andy pitted early, then we also had David as well. So I was committed to push with Rush. Because we seem to be on similar pace. He had a few more mistakes, but was good in the sense that keeping the tires alive, making sure being in the DS window at all times is going to be crucial. And I think without that would have completely changed the race anyway. So yeah, one stop for me at all stages. But obviously, if something would have happened with an early safety car, then would have switched to a 2-stop, I think, because the tires were done after coming over the line.
One last question from myself to you. Going into next week, at the moment, unofficially, you have a 13-point gap over Rush the Series, 24 4-point gap over Andy Andre. Obviously, you were kind of in a similar position before. English is hard. And obviously, season 3, final round, Rush the Series came barreling right into you, and that lost you the championship. So, obviously, all you need is if Rush the Series wins, you need 4th place or better to keep the championship with yourself. Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, I don't know how Rush feels about the tracks coming up. Maybe, or if he's like there's like a certain amount of tracks that are definitely out because of how the next season's gonna be probably synced with like the start of season 8. So a lot of tracks we already raced obviously out as well. So if the sample size that is there is kind of suiting him more than me, then that might be still troublesome. And obviously, kind of now I would need Andy to win that race, because then I have like less positions where I lose heavy points to Rush. So I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm more pleased that the gap to Andy is almost a race win, because he's like always there and you can't count him out. But this is gonna be like, I need a really shitty race, and I had some this season where lots of mistakes from my own hampered my progress. But we're here now, and I have to just try to get practice on every possible. I think there's a narrowed down list. Obviously, I worked on this in the admin team as well. So yeah, I have an idea, and whatever comes, I'm gonna be ready, and I'm trying to take another championship, because it looks like the time to take it now even more. I think driving wise, I was better in season 3 and 4. Enjoyed that game a bit more. Feel very unsteady with the qualifying format we're having, and I think Abu Dhabi proved that a shitty track, and I got P3 there. So yeah, looking forward to a very interesting finale, and obviously giving you hopefully one very memorable send off, because I'm gonna be missing you after that one as well. So I'm gonna enjoy tomorrow and next week both the race and the commentary with you, and then send you off with a bang, I guess.
Of course, we will have Division 2 tomorrow as well. That's also a 3-way fight as it stands, but Pleasant Snake the favourite in that one. But Herman, you're the favourite going in for Division 1 next week. We'll see you then, but of course, see you tomorrow as well for Division 2.
Yeah. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Last but not least, we will have Andrew here, 3rd place in the race, but that looked like it was oh so close. Moksha was only a 10th behind you. Congratulations on P3 though, regardless. How do you feel after all of that?
I felt that race was very good on this track. I'm disappointed because I feel that Herman, I didn't attack him. I was trying to follow him, not to slow him down too much. But I feel that if I could have stick with him, I think I would have been in the cards for the race win. But the incident sent me, I think, 3 or 4 positions behind, and I had to fight and use my tires to gain those positions.
And
P3 is nothing I could hope for more than to stay in front of the guys behind me.
okay, I just want to let you know, Andrew, we do have some problems with your connection. It's just cutting in and out for us, but I did gather what was said there. Obviously, I'll give you a minute just to kind of try and get that sorted out. But one thing as well, I just wanted to know what kind of was the strategy from your area there, and just kind of how that all played out. Was it a 1-stop? Was it a 2-stop? And did that change at all in the race?
I thought for 1-stop, I knew on my tires, usually in is because of my smooth driving style, and I thought that 1-stop would be the better strategy. I think the 2-stop could have worked this time. I tried it last week in Abu Dhabi, but it didn't work for me. when you do a two-stop, you have to be aggressive with the second or third stint, because don't do that, you close the gap, basically worthless. I thought that one stop for me was good enough. Tires were kind of done, but I think that the spin costed me some tire wear, and also the battles that I had to the last positions also costed me some tire wear. Last 2 laps, I was very, very cautious.
All right, Andrew, I'm really sorry. We're still having problems with the connection, so we're just going to leave it there for the time being. I do apologize to cut you off early, but I just want to kind of finally say, of course, congratulations on P3. That was a really good effort from yourself, and we look forward to seeing you next week for the finale in Division 1. Andrew, enjoy the rest of your week, but more importantly, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheers, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Sorry.
No problem, not your fault. Bye-bye. All right, obviously, we did have to cut that interview off early just because we did need to, well, unfortunately, we couldn't get those connection problems fixed with Andrew. But, of course, we will be back again tomorrow for Division 2. Now, how does Division 2 look, I hear you ask? Well, that is a three-way fight, of course. It is Pleasant Stake, the favourite to be there, but also there will be Herman the German, of course, who just took the win here in Miami tonight. He'll be, of course, with me as well. And, well, certainly one to look forward to tomorrow. Don't go anywhere at all. Miami to come. Miami will again be for Division 2. And then the Mystery Grand Prix, where will that be? You'll have to wait and see. It'll be next week. And, of course, that will be my final commentary with the Silly Season Racing League. And, well, I don't know. I'm like, you know, it's certainly getting emotional, this, isn't it? Three more commentaries to go with myself. One last one for Division 1 to come next week. But otherwise, Division 2 will be right here, same time tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. GMT with Herman the German. And of course, Division 1 will be right here, same time next week on the same day, 7:30 p.m. GMT. Who is going to take the crown? Will it be Rush Siri? Will it be Herman the German? Or will it be an unlikely Andy Andre? Just gonna have to wait and see. But from myself and everybody at SSRL, we all thank you so much for watching. And of course, from yourself, myself, to SSRL, we thank them for putting this show on every week out to the owner, the admin, the stewards, the drivers. We thank them for putting on this show every single week. From wherever you may be in the world, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive, look after your mental health. We'll see you next week, or maybe even tomorrow.